Bucket. The AllThemods 10 version 3.0 update is rolled out, and with it, MMR is being phased out. Bucket, what's the MMR? Modular Machinery Reborn is being phased out. Bucket, what? Modular Machinery Reborn is the mod that brings us to the endgame multi-block structures involved with crafting the ATM Star. They also allow us to build multi-block structure variants of a lot of mechanism machines. So why is this happening? What does this mean? And how's this going to affect the game? If you haven't built MMR structures yet, they've been kind of notorious in the AllThemods 10 pack for either not working properly or causing significant performance issues. If you tick accelerated them, you were tick accelerating those performance issues. So it seems like the MMR mod is being phased out and the multi-block structures will instead be using the mod Modern Industrialization. Hey, Modern Industrialization? It's no longer optional. I have to do Modern Industrialization now? But I just crafted these multi-block structures. Everybody calm down. Everything is fine. First of all, you don't actually have to progress through Modern Industrialization. Here's how it's gonna work. All the crafts for the controller blocks will remain exactly the same, only now they'll make Modern Industrialization variants, which also means you won't need Modularium anymore. If you have the MMR ones crafted already, you can use the controller block to craft the Modern Industrialization variant. Similarly, the largest versions of the MMR hatches can also be crafted into the Modern Industrialization variants. If you're familiar with Modern Industrialization, you'll know that the mod only deals with fluids, items, and energy. For this reason, all of our machines will now need energy input hatches. It does also look like you can use just about any kind of fluid XP now, and source hatches will need to be replaced with fluid hatches. But Bucket, source isn't a fluid. No, it is not, which is why Starbunkelmania has been added to allow us to convert source into liquefied source. Oh no, I knew this would happen. I was so close to the star, and it just gets harder and harder. How do we get liquefied source? All you have to do is craft a source condenser, which is not a difficult craft. The source condenser would take source from nearby source jars and convert it into fluid. Do note as well that an ME source jar won't function like a normal source jar. So quick rundown on these. Source condensers take 1000 source and convert it into 1 bucket of liquefied source. The range looks to be 6 blocks. Keep in mind a source jar holds 10,000 source. An unobtainium source jar holds 100,000 source. So an unobtainium source jar will be able to feed source to up to 100 source condensers at a time. I haven't done the math on how big of a setup you will need, but if you were to scale your operation, you could have 1 obtainium source jar surrounded by source condensers. The mechanism multi-block structures will remain unchanged because Modern Industrialization doesn't deal with chemicals. So the structures that have changed will be the Runic Crucible, Runic Star Altar, automatic Hephaestus Forge, and the Runic Enchanter. If you take a look at any of the recipes now, you'll notice that they'll require you to have a certain level of upgrades. Don't worry, you still don't have to get into Modern Industrialization. This upgrade you're looking for is the Runic Attuned Arcane Crystal. Just make sure that you have enough of these to fulfill the requirements of your recipe. For example, the ATM Star requires at least 1920 EU per tick worth of upgrades. The Runic Attuned Arcane Crystal gives 512, so that means you'll need 4 of these. And do note that these are still upgrades. If you take a look at your controller block, you'll notice an efficiency rating. Every time you complete a craft, your efficiency will go up by 1. Having more upgrades means you can reach higher efficiency ratings. And as you can imagine, will allow you to craft faster at higher efficiency ratings. The max amount of upgrades you'll be able to add is a full stack. And of course, this is a Modern Industrialization machine. So beyond that, if you're a Modern Industrialization enjoyer, you can get the highest efficiency cap by using a quantum upgrade. However, there's a catch. Your machine will lose efficiency once it stops crafting, or if it starts to craft a different recipe. This other upgrade slot is for an overdrive module. An overdrive module will stop your efficiency from going down, but you'll only be able to craft the same recipe. So that means if you wanted to take advantage of efficiency upgrades, you would have to dedicate a structure to one specific craft so that you can use the overdrive module. One more thing, sentient enders were an absolute pain to automate. They were required to craft machine casings, which we no longer need, but we're still going to need sentient enders in order to craft Runic Attuned Arcane Crystals. Sentient enders require witch soul vials, which can now be produced in the Runic Enchanter. Within this recipe, you'll need a broken witch spawner, which can also be crafted through the Runic Enchanter. Now it says that the broken spawner will not be consumed, meaning that after the craft, it'll stay in your item input hatch. You can just choose to leave it in there, as leaving it in there won't affect your other crafts. So if you're automating this with a pattern provider, similarly to how you would automate applied energistics and scribers, all you have to do is just take the spawner out of the pattern. Now we're going to look through the structures and I'm going to go through exactly what you'll need to know when you're building them. When you place the controller block down, hold any wrench in your offhand and you'll be able to see what the multi-block structure is supposed to look like. If you hover over the controller in JEI and press U, there's a list of materials required to build the structure. Although after checking, it doesn't look like this list is accurate. So instead, I'm going to be showing you a list of building materials as we go through each structure. First, the Runic Star Altar. If you haven't built it before, just know that you can put either experience, blood, Oreo, or souls into the Utrim jars. Whatever you would have put into your Hephaestus Forge for these are the same kind of items that the Utrim jars will accept. It doesn't actually matter which one of these you put in them. You can even have the same thing in all of them. You also don't need to fill them all the way up, as long as it has something in it. If we change to our Modern Industrialization controller, we can see that the new structure is the same, but just a little bit shorter. Then, holding any of the required hatches will light up the spots where you can put them. Also note that these hatches are directional. You can shift right click a face with a wrench to have the hatch face that direction. Both fluid and item hatches will also have the option to auto input and auto output. The automatic Hephaestus Forge. If you're changing from MMR, you're actually going to want to place the new controller one block down from where the other one was. Then you'll just have to get rid of all these invalid blocks and replace them with what you see. It should be a few rune blocks, but mostly polished darkstone and polished darkstone stairs. You'll also notice that all of the hatches will now go on the outside, so there won't be a need to go under your forge anymore. The Runic Enchanter. This structure is quite different from the original one, so I would honestly just build it from scratch. Just know that the hatches for this one will now be under it. Also, if you haven't noticed already, both MMR and Modern Industrialization will always show stairs facing in one direction. How you place the stairs won't actually affect the structure's functionality, but it's an eyesore. So feel free to pay attention to how this one's supposed to look. The Runic Crucible is actually completely unchanged, so all you have to do is replace the controller and the hatches. Hope this was helpful. If it was, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more up-to-date All the Mods 10 content. I'm Bucket, and I'll see you in the next one.